it's a beautiful thing too. Hold up. Yay.
Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. So I actually forgot about this topic. It wasn't until I saw NXT that it really kind of came into my head that Samoa Joe upset so many people with his, let's say, take on the Forbidden Door. So what did Samoa Joe say that upset so many people? He says, I work for a company. If I play for a football club, you wouldn't lend me out on the weekend to go play for a rival team. Messi's ain't doing day shifts over at Manchester United. I understand some fans want that, and they want to see that. But at the same time, just with the whole politics of that type of situation, it wouldn't be a good outcome anyways. Nobody wants to look bad in that situation. Everyone's getting pushed and pulled in a certain way, and it becomes a convoluted mess. If you guys want to show and get down with Samoa Joe, get on my level. They come and find me. Let's do this. I ain't making house calls right now. Okay, so a lot of people got very upset with Mr. Samoa Joe. Same people who were really mad he got fired not too long ago are saying that, he's a bootlicker. He got rehired, therefore, he's against it. WWE is against it, so of course he's going to be against it. Oh, man. Let's see if I can find some functional arguments about this whole thing. So somebody says, first of all, terrible analogy. In soccer, they do loan players out. Secondly, you don't like the Forbidden Door, but you're cool getting fired by a company and coming back as a 40-plus-year-old man to be the champ of developmental. That's all you're good for to them. He's 40. Yes. He's at the tail end of his career. Why wouldn't he want to actually go somewhere and get a steady paycheck? Why do he want to hustle like he's 25 again? He's already been through that. And that's something that I've never seen in all of these people complaining. I've never seen people say, why would he want to continue hustling at 40? When you're a young wrestler, sure, you want to go out there and work for as many companies as you can. You want to go be a job guy over here. You want to go be a, champ over here. You want to go do this and do that. Some of these places are televised. Some of them are not. Sure, that's fine if you just want to get your name out there, but Samoa Joe doesn't need to do that. He's Samoa Joe. He's already done that. The reason why you know who he is because he did that stuff already. Right? So it's not clicking, right? It doesn't click. All it is, hey, look at your spot on the card. It's like he's the top of the developmental. He's also helping to run the developmental system. That's what he's worth to them. They cut him because he wasn't able to work. Now that he's able to work, he's back. Same as Daniel Bryan when they really had a problem re-signing him when they thought he wasn't going to be able to work again, and they was kind of like, what are we keeping this guy around for? They love Daniel Bryan obviously, so they gave him a chance. They say, okay, well if you can go, let's go see what you can do, and it ended up working out. And Samoa Joe may be able to work out, but a lot of people are very upset. So I'm going to find, what is this? Wrestle Purists on Twitter. I'm going to go to their comment section. It says, it boils down to freedom of choice. You think Christian and Omega would work Impact if they didn't want to? Yeah, Joe. Nobody wants a bit of freedom in the workplace. I don't understand that concept. Who says he doesn't have freedom? Again, he's not a young wrestler. He doesn't care. And look, Christian and Omega, they're doing these things to quote unquote help Impact, but really they're just going over all the Impact guys. And is that really helping Impact? I have a video that actually states no. We see routinely that it doesn't. Somebody says he does have a point. Imagine the rage con man would feel if his boy Omega got hurt in one of those Impact matches. Yes, absolutely. Or if they booked him to lose, which of course he's in control of. So it's fine and dandy for the Forbidden Door. For starters, it only benefits certain people anyway. You see the same people over and over again. Like one of the people you see constantly is Chelsea Green. She's just like in every promotion. Because people know who she is, she has no problem getting booked in different promotions again and again and again. But if she was a younger wrestler who, is out here trying to make a name for themselves, Partly of how people make a name for themselves is to sign somewhere and then build up. Somewhere that has television, of course, and has wide exposure, and then build themselves up. That's part of how you know who people are. Because if folks are bouncing back and forth, you never really see them. If somebody never signs to a TV company that has a TV deal, you never see them. Therefore, they're only known in the wrestling circles, which limits the amount of money they can make. But you can make a lot more money if you have exposure. So what these guys, the younger wrestlers, are trying to do is get exposure, but it's not them that's benefiting. You know, it's almost always the people who are already established. They can go anywhere they want already. But at the same time, they're assets. So when they go out there and they have a match, it's going to be a BS match because they're not going to run the risk of getting hurt and missing the big paydays. And they're not going to, do any jobs because the bosses are going to be like, I don't know about that. I don't know about, I got you figured in for this thing over here. And if you go over here and get choked out and tapped out to some nobody, and then of course it kills the fun of it when you're fairly sure that this guy who signed to this big promotion is going to come in and beat this guy. It kills the fun of it. He was more than happy to work with other promotions when ROH booked him against Kenta Kobashi, and he had one of the best matches of his career. That was also 15 years ago. That's the thing. 15 years ago. He's 15 years older now. He's heavier than he used to be. He has more injuries than he used to have. It's not the appropriate lifestyle for him right now. And most smart people would already know that and would figure that in. But wrestling fans, they have a high IQ, I was told. And I was told wrestling fans have the highest IQ of all sports. And it ain't seeming like it. Every day we stray further away from those facts. Soccer literally has a loan system. Okay. I don't know soccer, so I couldn't tell you. WWE really needs to stop taking shots at AEW. They need only to worry about their own company. That's weird. This is not why do people think Tony Khan created this Forbidden Door? He didn't create it. TNA had this with Ring of Honor. They also had it with New Japan. They also had it with AAA. The exact same companies that AEW have relationships with, TNA had relationships with them. And they had relationships with the NWA. This Forbidden Door nonsense is not a creation of Tony Khan. Why are we acting like he made it up? He didn't. He did not. These are people who can't even follow modern wrestling history, let alone ancient wrestling history. It's ridiculous, bro. Let's see. He is now a yes man for NXT. Could have had a final hooray in Impact, Ring of Honor, and AEW, but went for the money in the same company who fired him for no particular reason. He could have had a final hooray in Impact. Well, I'm sure Samoa Joe is really going to miss that. Sure, he's going to miss his big final Ring of Honor run. Come on. Come on. It says easy to not be in favor of something when you're not allowed to do it. No, if he was allowed to do it, he was a free agent. If he wanted to do this shit, he would have done it. That's what you don't seem to understand. He signed away that right because he didn't want to do it. He was a free agent not too long ago. How long was Samoa Joe a free agent? I don't know. But long enough that if he wanted to say, I want to go to Japan and get dropped on my head again, or I want to go to AAA and do all that stuff, he could have done that. It's not like he's been under WWE contract for 10 years and he doesn't know how to do anything else. But it's always an attack on the person, never a debate or a conversation about what they actually said. He's saying, it's not for me. It's a convoluted mess. And it's true. We already know that people are bouncing around all over the place, and we can see objectively that it's not really helping. It's not really helping Impact. And who is the nexus of all this stuff? They are helping NWA. They're helping AEW, or AEW's helping them. They ain't really benefiting from this stuff. If anything, they're coming across like a club foot, dangling on AEW's ankle. Let's see. That would be all fine and dandy if the company actually stopped pretending those guys are independent contractors, because independent contractors are supposed to be able to work for different companies. Again, independent contractors, people sign away those rights. You can sign away whatever rights you want. That's why they're yours. Just because I choose not to exercise a right does not mean I do not have it. Okay? If he's going to get paid to provide exclusive work for this company, guess what? He can do that. And why would anybody be against it if it's freedom of choice? I don't know. It says wrestling is not real, and plus AEW, New Japan, NWA, AAA, and Impact are not rival companies. They're essentially working as one. Now that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. They're all working together. They're all buddies. That's why, when Conan had the idea for Andrade to win the AAA title, Tony Khan was like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. And then if you think about doing it, I might pull Kenny Omega. Yeah, that's working together. We're going to all work together on this. Despite the fact that one person and one set of teams is calling the shots. It's ridiculous. His analogy is stupid. If you're a pro athlete, you compete against other rival teams. You don't just practice with your own club in your own home city. I think that we are missing up the analogy here. In this situation, Samoa Joe is the team, right? It's the unit of measurement is the same. If you look at WWE equals the NFL, right? Then Samoa Joe equals the Buffalo Bills or whatever the hell, right? He is essentially himself as a team against other teams, his other teams being Tommaso Ciampa and Kyle O'Reilly, etc., etc. This is why I don't like wrestling fans, man. The IQ level. Let's go to somewhere else, because I've read enough from the wrestling purists. Let's go to the Cultaholic Twitter account. See what they have to say. Let's see. I don't know. Sony makes crappy Venom movies. Disney makes interesting Spider-Man movies. When they work together, they make the best entertainment possible. This is a better comparison than football. Let's see. Well, considering Spider-Man is still owned by Disney, Spider-Man is still owned by Sony. The movie rights for Spider-Man are still owned by Sony. So Sony is working together with Disney to make those Spider-Man movies. When Sony was making their own Spider-Man movies, they weren't that good and they weren't that well received. So I don't know what to tell you. Maybe it's a better analogy because Impact on its own exists in a dead zone and nobody cared what they did. But now that AEW's involved, people are more likely to watch it. Not by much, but they're actually more likely to watch it. I guess that is a better comparison, now that I think about it. The company man doing what the company man can. Again, another attack on him. Since that's exactly how football works. Players play on loan from other clubs all the time. I don't know. How true is that? Let's see. I love how when a wrestler has an opinion that doesn't fit the internet narrative, everybody on here says they're an ass kisser. No, it's called an opinion, and they are entitled to one as everyone else is. It's really strange. It says, was Joe supposed to say he was all for the competition working together when he was still employed by WWE? Again, he has not been employed by WWE for a while. And if he wanted to do all this stuff that everybody thinks is so fun and so cool, he could have done it. The fact is, he didn't want to. He probably prefers at this stage of his career to be settled and to have a steady paycheck and not have to hustle. Just like sometimes, older wrestlers are 100% okay with not having a steady, stable job. They might want the freedom of, I don't have to work. I can just, stay at home. But sometimes those guys have a long history of working somewhere else where they accrue royalties for, for being on some type of platform. Like if you worked at Impact or something like that. Hopefully Impact is still sending you royalty checks. So you might be like, I don't really need to go out there and bust my ass. I'm 42 or whatever. If you're like a James Storm, right? You don't have to go out there and really hunt because you're like, look, I got this body of work that hopefully provides me royalties. So that'll tide me over and, when I don't really want to work. And if I do need a shot in the arm, I can just make a phone call. Hey, I need to do this. Boom, you get it done. And some older wrestlers like that. Some older wrestlers are like, hey, I prefer to work somewhere else. And it's not necessarily WWE. It's, there's, guys who are almost 40 and some guys who are 40 who work in a Ring of Honor and they prefer to stay in Ring of Honor. But the people who are saying, let's go out there and get it, like Deonna Purrazzo and Jordan Grace, who have been screaming for months about wanting to have more women go back and forth, they're being treated like they don't exist. They've been told to shh, stop asking questions. Stop saying that. Stop doing that. We're not doing it. I've even seen Deonna Purrazzo try to smooth things over by saying, I would like to see us work as partners, because if we wrestle each other, who's going to win? And that's the situation Samoa Joe was talking about, because that's the situation Impact put itself in with Rich Swann. She already knows AEW is not going to let her beat Britt Baker, and she's not going to volunteer to drop her belts to Britt Baker. So what benefit is there really to her? But she still wants to do it because she still wants that exposure. So she's trying to negotiate ways around it. But even she knows that there's politics involved in this. And this is exactly what Samoa Joe was talking about. But he's just one person on the roster. Like there's a bunch of people on different rosters who have different opinions. Some people like the idea, some people don't. The thing is, Samoa Joe is just being attacked for being a WWE guy that's against it. Because they see it as, but you also consider that the WWE, if you put it in a position that something like Al Snow would say, what does time cost on Raw? And this was from like 12 years ago. But he says if, 30 seconds on Raw is worth $30,000, then a 6 minutes match is what, $240,000? Why would you give that amount of time and money and energy to another person's characters and another promotion's characters and storylines and everything else? Why do that? It's only when you're not really making that much and you don't think in that way that you would consider doing it, and that's something to consider. Now, all these smaller promotions, because they don't have to think that way, they aren't involved very heavily with like sponsors and advertisers and stuff like that. AEW is different because they kind of are. You see what happened when they opened a forbidden door to Nick Gage and they ended up losing Domino's as an advertiser. I ain't seen a Domino's pizza ad on AEW since, so I can tell you that. Now maybe it's there and I just wasn't paying attention, but I ain't seen one since. But it's an interesting thing that people talk about. But Samoa Joe's catching all this heat. People are so very upset with him and disappointed in him because he's supposed to be the indie wrestler's indie wrestler. But that was 15 years ago, man. He's not that guy anymore. It's probably not fun for him to get out and go and travel and do all this shit. He's probably, he got kids now or something like that. And he has an opportunity to stay there and be a decent dad and all that kind of stuff. Like, why would you have any problem with that? That's weird. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel, donate to the channel. Thank you guys for your time, and I'll talk to you guys later.